done, I was reaching to grab the bottle.
They avoiding you or something? Why ain't they sitting with you?
Big gas power.
He doesn't want to sit on the back row. Hey, Miss Ruth. Hey, Frank. How you doing, man?
See you guys. Thanks. Have a good morning.
You didn't, you want to tell me real quick?
Yeah, with the audio stuff or?
Yeah, just tell me.
Yes, so we
Before we get started, y'all hang on. This is Jeremy, who's over all our stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
helping
helping
with
you
audio.
get some work on this.
Yeah, so we contacted CCS, the company that installed that for us. But there was actually like an entire side of the microphone that was muted. So we got them in there, they reset the microphone, and it should be working online for you guys now. So let us know if you guys have any issues, but we got the gain all turned up and dialed in, so if you guys have any issues.
Everything we practiced with last week
Okay.
made it sound first class like it was supposed to be.
Right,
And part of moving this table like this gave us a better angle for everybody to hit a little bit better.
Right.
Okay.
So, but today is our first run and we'll know after this.
Yeah, and we'll make any tweaks we need to if we need to move the microphone or whatever we need to do, so y'all just let us know.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
All right, let's open the meeting up with a prayer, and then we'll get started. Lord, thank you for allowing us to gather here today. We ask that you bless us, watch over us. We ask that you watch over our neighboring communities as they're affected by the storms. We ask that you watch over all those people they're looking for, and as they begin to rebuild. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right. First, let's move into Baldwin water rate increase. Mark, what you got?
This is just the informational purposes here that we received a letter 2 weeks ago from Baldwin that they will be raising the water rate effective January 1st, 2025. And this is their annual increase.
Through the
So,
CPI.
Yep. It is, so it is a 2.5% rate increase. Going from 255, 265, 286, 308, and 332, and that's staggered on the amount of water that we're using. And again, our contract with them, we gotta use 1,150,000 minimum per month, or per day. And it's 2 million, up to 2 million gallons per day.
Okay. We don't need to take a vote on that. That's
No, that was just for informational.
Contract. Okay.
And we had the same thing with Tacoma, effective last month.
Yeah. All right, let's move. Discussion of updated agreement for automatic aid.
Right, and Chief Schurer and Chief Louette are in Forsyth at the fire conference there. And what we added to this was,
And who's this agreement with?
this is with Hampshire
Okay.
Fire and Demorest Fire. It's all the same, but if you go back to the last page, 2 pages, 3 pages, they listed the street names. So that these are the streets that are included in this. And it also gives you the definition of,
These are the streets that our fire departments can be
those are the ones that
servicing.
we're both gonna be,
Oh, these are both county and.
naming that we're working on together there. And it's got the limitations and training. It says what's gonna show up for a fire response is an engine and 2 personnel, service truck and 2 personnel available from the county. We're gonna show up with an engine and 2 personnel and a service truck and 2 personnel if available.
And this is for fire only, correct?
That's right.
Are we gonna have to work out a new one for Clarksville? Is that gonna work?
They're trying to get this done first, and then they will be updating that one.
Okay.
So that's the plan from there. And it tells you here the summary of the memo of understanding here, what all that means with the different fire and multifamily, shooting, stabbing, different things of that sort.
So
Tim, anything you want to add to any of that mutual?
you approved this last month.
It's an additional
but
information.
They added a few streets, basically.
Okay. So the only addition to last month was a few
Yeah. a few
Additional
streets. Okay. What streets were those?
Chicken House Drive.
Nice page.
I can't answer that question. I can't answer that question here.
Okay.
I think it's just them, right? Added 912
I can get that information.
Do we know the general location of the streets they added?
Will you text Dave and see if he knows out of those streets, how many were new and they can get us some information tomorrow on that, please, Tim. Thank you.
This is, all I care about is the general area, not so much the street, but where exactly it is.
We can get that in the map.
So you're wanting to see that on a map?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I think it, I don't know, on the page, it includes what roads are to be included as of 9/12. Is that the one you're?
That was the bit of
That's the ones that they added.
that would have been after our day.
Yeah. Because I think we adopted it on the 3rd of
Just
September.
to confirm that. September would have been the 3rd. So that would have been what's added.
So Midway looks like it's toward that area.
Yeah, all the way down to like, on the other side of like Sweetgrass, Bridge.
Kind of down.
Like Camp Creek.
Down Demorest Mountain area.
Yeah.
I think Wally World Drive. I think I got an idea.
Lakeside Circle, that's way off of, that's near the Cornelia water plant.
I like the fact that Habersham Mills Road is in there, going to the water department.
And Donnie, I'm sure you're going to have to speak a little louder.
I like the fact that Habersham Mills is on there, going to the Demorest Water Department.
Here's David.
I don't think any of us have a question for fire.
The county has a 5-mile open area with no fire coverage, and we added those streets.
It's very good.
You have Thomas on the road?
And some of that's on the other side of Camp Creek.
I would say we're only at 6.
Yeah, that, if there's any over there, that would be my only question.
Yeah, I mean, there's several, probably halfway down Demorest Mountain area, going towards Mount Airy. On the other side of Camp Creek, like Liplock Lane, Lat Wilson, all those are.
Now, if you want to hold off on this to have some more information, we can do that. It's not a problem from,
Well, I mean, what does that mean? If
it means it's not going to go into effect.
That means that we're still servicing that whole area.
We're still servicing that area, just not on the definition plans.
But it's not a problem. I mean, could we not add that to one of our meetings coming up in the month of October?
Yeah, after we see a map.
So after we get Dave be back on Friday.
That's fair enough.
Yeah,
So just table it if you choose.
okay.
Because we're under the coverage now, and we'll run those calls now. That's just agreeing a little bit further.
Yeah,
And then I will tell you that I have talked with Dave, and it's not a snap your finger and everything gets changed. It's taking time, but as I've talked to Dave about his calls, the volume is down from what it has been. Like the other day, I saw that they had a medical call, and I said, Dave, are you taking this going into Cornelia? Yes, still at this time, especially since I visited with Lynn Smith and what they're doing over there at the 911 center the last few days. They're not touching this until they get through all of the storm information and so forth like that. So nothing would be jumping in the next week anyway.
Is this just for fire, or is this
Yeah, this is fire only.
fire only? Fire only, I don't have a problem with.
Well, no, so this is, look at the 4th page, summary of the MOU. Fire, fire alarm, fire commercial, fire control burn, illegal burn, gas leak, hazmat, lost and normal shooting, stabbing, structure damage, plane, water rescue, accident, hit and run.
I'll go on record saying that if Dave Sure is for it, then I'm for it.
Dave just texted in and said, our call volume in the extended area are minimum at this time.
All the acts that are listed here are pretty serious. It's not This is not picking up somebody that's rolled over out of their bed.
Yeah.
So that was my only concern, if we're still be going over there doing those things and not having coverage here. But I mean, these all seem to be life or property threatening.
Okay. We'll call it for a vote if you want to table it for you and Matt.
I'm good if y'all are good with it.
I'm good for it too. Any other questions about the MOU? Next is discussion about the ARPA funds. Get out of the way. We might be a little out of order.
Is the budget.
Budget.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got it out of the way. So now we're on the budget. Let's move back to the budget.
Guys, in your front of your tab, if you're gonna talk about my budget, I gotta talk a little bit about the difference rate. You'll see a page that looks like this, 3 pages together. This is the 5-year advertisement for Clarksville, Cordelia, and Baldwin. First one up is Clarksville. You look at my check marks on the right-hand side, that they've got a 6.011 less the rollback, and their new millage that they proposed is a rollback to 5.4.
They also tax at 100%.
That's right. Now, if you look down below, net taxes levied, I'm gonna use round numbers, $1.7 million. That's what they're getting from their property taxes. So remember that number there.
This is what they recently passed, or?
Well, they are in the middle of it.
Okay, so this
Whether
is
they finalize it, I'm not here to say that. This is what they told us.
proposed. All right.
The next one is the 5-year Baldwin. When you look under 23, you'll have to look at under the Habersham, that circle. Their rate at that point in time was 8.45, which is the net minus their exemptions. And they are going to bring in the year of 2024 with an increase from 8.485 to 9.17. It's a millage increase of 0.689. They're going to bring in from their Habersham County $951,000. And that's key. Remember that number. Go back, third sheet is Cordelia. Their millage rate in 23 was 9.50. Their millage rate proposed in 24 is 9.50. They're going to bring in, last year they brought in $2.5 million. In 24, they're going to bring in $2.8 million. So 2.8, 950, and $1,000,007. Now, if you look further down in that package there, you will see our 5-year tax rate that looks like this, that we'll be advertising in the paper. You look back in 2019, the collected net tax.
That's in the,
No, it should be,
what's that?
No, it's in your binder.
It's in your binder.
Back in that binder.
all, you should be in the, is it not in the front or the back?
No, it's past the budget, so keep going.
Oh, they put that in there, okay.
Okay, I see.
Okay. In 2019, the city collected 211,000. 2020, they collected 212, 195, 283. In 2023, 344,000. And you compare that to those other 3 cities, 1,000,007, 950, and 2.9 million. When you compare the comparison of their property values to what we fund the city of Demorest with, that is some small numbers. So I have, in this package there, you have you have three of these levies like this. One is for a tax increase of 1 mil, which would go to 7.16 from the 6.16. And that would generate $471,000. If you go to staying the millage at 6.16, you'll collect $405,000. If you roll it all the way back to 5.49, you would collect $361,000, and that would be a $17,000 increase over 23. So I tell you all that to say, we're advertising this as a 1 mil tax increase, because what that is, it says it can't go higher than this rate. You can back this number down to whatever number y'all want to back the mill down to. But to make it basically revenue neutral, even though it's $17,000 additional by rolling it all the way back, you would have to do that. And again, in my budget, you're going to see it at the 7.16, so I can show that gross income. If y'all want to roll it back, you're talking from 7.16 to 6.16, roughly $65,000. Okay, then we have to cut to roll that number back. That's how I'm going to start off with this, giving y'all those options of this is what I'm proposing. Because again, in the ad, in discussions of this, we cannot be higher than 7.16. You can pick any number below that. So that being said,
But your proposed budget right now is based on the 7.1.
That's right.
Past that, we need to start cutting.
we need to start cutting.
Okay.
So I sent y'all the budget a week or so ago, and y'all have any questions before we go through this and how y'all want to go through this?
Well, I think we ought to look at each
Department?
department and talk about those, because I'm sure everybody had time to look at these and.
All right, we can do that. All right, so let's start here, showing the green numbers on this first page. There's the 471, 316 at the top. The other taxes of motor vehicles, intangible taxes, franchise taxes, insurance premium. We're at $156,000 to be collected this year, and that insurance premium should be hitting the city general fund any day in October, because that's when that gets paid. And beer and wine, transfer tax, business, et cetera, all the way down. We got July the 4th. We raised roughly $19,000 with that. And then there's some fines and forfeitures. The advance here, it shows under the 2024 remaining budget to the left of $46,000. It's a different way that we did it this year. That money came straight out of SPOS dollars, and it shows, and it was transferred to general fund. We're not going to do it that way anymore. That's why it shows a zero in the green, because we'll pay those funds for the fire truck and for the police car straight from SPOS dollars from that account. And you'll see those later on. So all that adds up to $1,236,356. Now, you'll see, remember that number, that's just to cover those revenues, $1.2 million. When I get into my city manager's report and we go over the financials, you'll see what it takes for the month of August just to cover the 1 month. That line below, this line automatically takes in the advance from the water fund. This year, we're looking to hit $1,590,000. I can't just take and cut out $800,000 and go to, we're only going to transfer $800,000 or $65,000 a month. The city doesn't run off of $65,000 a month in our income source through general fund. So that automatic transfer comes up to be $1,390,000. That is exactly $200,000 less than the advance from last year. My goal is to continue that, to lessen that transfer, but I can't do it all in 1 year. So I have to start cutting it down from there. And that's why this is showing that at that kind of number. So that puts General fund at 2.627, $342,000. Going into the next part, you've got salaries, mayor, council, insurance, city attorney, audit. Those numbers are real. Because on the audit, we take half from the general fund and the other half from water and sewer. And we split the city attorney's cost. So this is the half for the general fund here of that 40,000. July 4th celebration, there's been some discussion. I've gotten expenses going up from 45,000 budgeted. We were at 48,000. I got it at 48,000 again for this year. Y'all can cut that if that's what y'all choose to do. Because again, we paid roughly 28,000 for fireworks. Band, we know what we paid in that, and the other expenses for all that day. So, tell me what y'all want to do with that. One thing you'll see in here is the general liability insurance cost. That is a huge number just across the board. In my own personal experience, my homeowner's policy went up 22% for nothing. No claim, been with them for 30 years. My insurance premium on my autos went up 26%. Same company, no claims. And it's across the board because of what's happened with other expenses in the state of Georgia that they compare to. So insurance is just a living and breathing animal that is growing every day. Go to the next page. We got animal control down to that 13.5 that we paid down from 17,000. So
Have we paid them yet this year? I see that year-to-date activity blank.
that's a good question. I feel confident that we did.
And we paid that.
I feel confident that we did.
Well, I knew we voted on it, agreed to it, but it says year-to-date activity.
That's a good point there. Megan, will you help me with the note of that, please?
I'm working on it.
Okay. Code enforcement for Dave, it's $13,600. Capital outlays,
So basically you're saying ramping that up.
yes. We've had discussions on that for the last couple of days, and we've got our first court case next week. And Thomas is handling that, and Judge Sneed, who does our municipal court. Going down to the police, biggest thing in there you can see, salary-wise, the biggest hit that the police department took in 2024 was the PTO payout. When we lost Robin, Hicks, Ty, I think that was it. Because they had maxed out PTOs, and we paid them out 8 to 10 weeks of the additional salary for that. But health insurance, all those things are just a regular situation in there. Casey's budget really only went up about $25,000. Biggest thing that you're gonna see in there is look at, right at the last line of police, which says capital outlays the radio, $59,715. In last year's budget, that number was $79,715. And that's where through the fire, we were able to, with that grant, pay down. This will come due in 2025. This
So it's
will
on
come
this
due.
year's budget, we're having it.
Well, we didn't know if it wouldn't have been, so it's rolling forward to 2025. So that is a real number that's gonna happen.
It is gonna happen this
Yes.
coming year? We'll see.
Be positive. Be positive. And so all that is happening. I've got confirmation this summer. So
Animal control was paid from dues and fees general, so we
wonder
can
why that was.
reclassify.
Yeah, please do. Thank you.
It was probably just paid from what it was paid from in the year past, so we can reallocate it.
Okay, thank you. So really, Casey was able last week. Casey, you want to stand up and say what you did with the some of the opiate money?
Yeah, I was able to get our shields. They came in, also got a tent for events, that sort of thing. And it looks really good, I'll show you. a
Yeah.
picture of it a lot.
And if y'all recall, in our March retreat, he said these were the things he wanted and needed. And so we had some extra opioid money, and I turned him loose to go ahead and use that money in the 2024. So when we come up in our March retreat, he's gonna be able to check that off that list, that he completed that.
It's good.
And he's having a little something extra done with him, so he's not showing him my design yet.
Okay.
So, thank you. Going down the fire, let me finish on police going down. Oh, this is GCIC. For some reason, we're not hitting our numbers that Robin had projected us to hit. So we have lowered some of our expectations on some of those.
Change, Casey wants to
I
speak on
can
it.
explain that.
Okay,
So GCIC, we used to do AKAs, that's where somebody would have several different names.
also known as.
We would charge for each one of those. The state cut that out. Wasn't our doing. So where we were charging maybe 6 or 7 for one name, now we can only charge one. And the state did that, so nothing we can do about that.
Has the volume stayed the same, decrease?
The numbers are about the same. It's just
Because you're not running
the companies are the
multiple
same. They
per,
can't
search.
run so many for one name.
And remember, they cannot go out and solicit
right.
business.
Right.
They have to pick up the phone and call
But we,
their office.
but we haven't lost
We
any
haven't lost.
business. Okay.
So, and that's where you'll see their total budget there, 136. And the last two lines on the bottom of that page below the police is salary and health insurance for fire. So he does have an increase in the budgets under the salaries there, health insurance. Workers' comp, we had some increases.
I'm looking at the wrong page.
Yep. We got some repairs and maintenance, we've got some vehicle maintenance. Remember, only thing that's operating at full capacity is the engine. The rescue truck, it was used the other day, but it's just sparingly used. And I will tell you, there's some other pages I can go over further back in here where the fire budget got up to 2.1 million. And I just said we had to cut that way back. He cut it to $1.1 million, and I've cut it to the grand total of $792,000. There was stuff in there for a new mini pumper, a rescue truck, a new truck for the assistant chief, et cetera, where they would be financing debt with capital payments in the year 2025. And we're not going out to get $600,000 in vehicle debts at this point in time, because where are you going to identify the point of income to make that payment? Because when you have SPLOST being the approval process, you're designating that SPLOST income to cover that debt. I'd be saying, property tax can't cover all that. Then I'm saying, water and sewer transfer is covering that. Well, is that what we need to take that to make? This is where, again, we come back to what do we want with the fire department? Because again, he had a budget of 2.1. And I'm not blaming Dave, I'm just saying he went through and made a dream budget.
When does this lost end?
It's 27. So, and again, we have 2 payments left out of for 25 and 26 for the engine truck and for Casey's police cars. And then that's when all that ends, and then it would start over if SPLOST is approved by the county. You know, you can see here on the insurance of general fund, I mean, I'm going from 30,000 budgeted, and we're at 39,000 with 4 months to go. So, I mean, that budget is all the way up to $55,000. I've got some small equipment in there at $48,000. I've got education and some training at 21. You know, I told the fire department guys, and I've told Dave, and I've told Lance, I can get you some, but I can't get you a dream budget. We got an engine and we got a sick or dead ladder truck. You know, I don't have $150,000 unless y'all can find it to fix that ladder truck. And it's gonna be worth $50,000 after you spend $125,000. I don't have an answer for that. And again, I will show y'all later in this, which was all included in Dave's in case y'all want to talk about that. And, you know, again, this is a recommended budget for y'all to take control of and say, hey, I want to cut this, I want to add this, okay? And this is set at the highest point of the millage rate at 7.16. So we only go down unless we're taking something out. So that's really where we are at 792. You know, I've got some PPE and some first responders in here on what we approved. But capital outlay, I had to zero that out. Because, again, it was showing a total amount of $650,000. But that whole $650,000 was being financed with annual payments each month. And I told Dave, if you want to consider debt, we got to start now for 26.
Yeah.
Because I can't start it this late in the game, trying to see if we can get financing. So, not picking on anybody, it's just the hard facts that I've had with Dave. So, see where we are with that, and I'm open for whatever y'all want to do. I'm just giving you the information. All right, down to streets. We have lowered that salary some. I think we're going to be down an employee or so into 2025. Earthworks, when you see down here, the $33,000 landscaping, that's earthwork for what they do for the right-of-way here and the park and the cemetery. So in that contract, it's been that amount for 3 years, right, Meg?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Our contract actually is expired.
Right. And that's how long we've been at the same number, so don't tell it. Keep that a secret, okay?
Hope you're not watching.
Capital outlay, the only capital outlay I have in here is the park at $50,000, if that's something you choose. Normally we do the capital outlay for the 30% match for LMIG, which we'll talk about 2024 LMIG later in my report. But this is for 2025. Megan has received a letter from DOT that has approved us for $37,000. 30% match is $11,000. I mean, I didn't want to set that in here because normally we've been putting in about 30%, 50%. But I thought maybe we'll just do the minimum amounts on this one since we got the double LMIG monies in 24. And if we had to, I can take that 11,000 from SPLOST roads, streets, and bridges if necessary, or we don't accept it. That would be your other part.
And what was that for? Again?
That's LMIG. With our street money, we have to match the LMIGs with 30%.
The DOT.
Yes. But our additional LMIG we got the other day, there was zero match because that was additional refunds from the surplus budget of the state. All right, next page over starts with the DDA. You'll see on the left side, advance to general, advance from water. We advance water in general to the DDA for them to make the bank payment. So that's what those dollar amounts are for.
In this building?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So, and then they have their rental income. And so that rental income is up to about 55,000 when you add up all the current leases in there. All the professional fees, debt service, those things are in there for the income of the DDA. SPLOST funds, I have us down to average 30. The month of August, we got $33,000, which puts us again at $360,000 to be collected if everything stays the same. So we've got $359,000 in the SPLOST account now. And we've got what's going to come out here shortly will be the last payment to Higgins on Hazel Creek Bridge.
Yeah.
Relocation of the sewer. And then we'll have Panther Creek coming out of road, streets, and bridges out of that of known facts for right now. Going down to the revenue, this is where out of the SPOS right here, you see where it says capital outlay, police and fire. That's those 1 year payments that we'll be making directly from SPOS to those. Police is paid in August, fire is paid in March. And there's 2 payments left for 25 and 26. Yes. I got capital outlays of $100,000 for water and a capital outlays for sewer of $175 from those 2. And again, it shows a negative balance to the right because it doesn't give me credit for the existing amount that is in the bank account now. Because it says we're going to collect $360, but it says I'm going to spend $415. I got credit in the bank that covers that. Water and sewer fund, we've talked about this a lot the last 45 days. Water sales is to go to 6.4. That's averaging $537,000 per month, and I'll tell you what we're averaging when we get to that report. Sewer, water install fees is up $50,000. Late fees is a big number. Cut off, cut on fees. Miscellaneous revenue, advance from SPOS, I got another $150,000 for water and sewer to come out of that. And so SPOS is our other big player, but it's about these unknown DOT projects when we have to move the current utilities that make me nervous because I don't know necessarily when they're coming. So, especially with Amy's Creek coming right around the corner with Panther. So, total revenue for water and sewer fund is $8.4 million. Starting the next lower page right there, stay on that page because the next one is, what is the next page group? Oh, this is water. So you'll see the salaries that come out of that one of the last 4, health insurance. And the big thing that you will see there, right, repairs and maintenance, computer software.
And what is that? Is that the Tyler software?
That, I'll have to get back to confirm that.
What line is it?
It is,
Computer software?
yeah, computer software, the last 3 digits are 1101. Got 45,000. Staying the same as last year, we spent 39.5 so far.
But that is Tyler.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that's not, but we will confirm that, Andrew.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine.
And you won't see the SCADA in the budget because we're proposing that to be paid out of the ARPA money.
Okay.
So, and that would happen either late 24 or first or second quarter in 25. And that's something we'll deal with later on there. So, and this is also where you will see where the transfer is taken at the 1.3 to balance the general fund. That automatically takes that number. I don't input that number at all. The advance to DDA right below that, that's the 40% of the bank payment. Going on down to the water and sewer, you've got health insurance, you've got a $737,000 salary in there. And when you start seeing repairs and maintenance of all these tanks on your left side, that's everything that we're budgeting for the individual systems. In there, one of these systems has a total cost of $525,000. We spent $191 on those same repairs and maintenance on the overall system there. So there is money set aside for these items. But again, we've got to have the money
Sure.
in the bank to be able to use the money. This is easy money on paper like this.
They're all broken out.
They're all broken out, but it doesn't fund them. It just lists them
It's still.
for us to say, that was in the budget. Oh, that was in the budget. All right, well.
Yeah.
So,
You want to touch on computer and software?
Yes.
So 31,000 of it went to Tyler and the remainder ACG.
okay.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, and that's what ACG does for us with our coverage, with our overall system. Thank you, Megan. To turn the page. This is the last page here with the sewer.
We need to increase, wait, sewer, on telecommunications for water, we need to increase that
What are you asking?
for telecommunications for the new system.
I will have to confirm where I have that number at in my budget. Because Fletcher and I worked on the sewer and water budget together. So, SCADA.
We did say the first year, right?
They did say that the first year was free, but I will confirm that and reconfirm that. The two big numbers you're gonna see, a quarter of the way down there, is, well, the first one is gonna be 115,000 for total utilities. And that's all the utilities for all the power and everything at all the pump stations, sewer plant, shop, all of those utilities with everything. And we did leave it the same because we're at 73,000 through 8 months and $42,000 remaining for the last 4 months. Next thing you're gonna see is Baldwin water payments. Our budget for 2024 was $1,050,000, and we are at, through the 8 months, $911,000. Plus what's projected out of that is $139,000 for the last 4 months. That puts us right there, but we will see how that comes out. We raised that $315,000 for the additional payments. We took into account Baldwin's price increase they just gave us. So we have all that factored in there. You know, the key is where those rates changes, I told you, the more water you use, you know, you're in a range. And as that range gets higher and higher, it is a much higher rate each time. Because again, the average rate is based upon, for most folks, 2,000 gallons. But we start hitting 2 million gallons, I'm paying much more than that 255. I can be paying, going back, $4. So that's what happens. We're also charging that customer in those same rate fee structures too. But it all plays together. The Tacoma water, we had budgeted 225. We're gonna be close to that. And I raised that $215,000 to $440,000. So that is
Because
the
we
big.
just now started using, a month ago.
Well, again, what we're doing, the Tacoma rate of $4, whatever it is being subsidized by the lower Baldwin rate until we get that connection set up. Because that's what's happening. So we're really not just paying $249, it's a blend. And so some of those things, that's what's important to better control that Tacoma rate. Go down, there's the same insurance of $40,000. I got small projects for Brian at $68,000, and I got capital outlays of $300,000. And total out of all my capital outlays and splosh for Brian for water is at $518,000. When I get down in the sewer here, you're gonna see two capital outlays that total $450,000 for sewer. So we drop down to sewer. Really, what the difference in salary is, Cade left us mid-year or so last year. And now we just have Dalton, who is there running the plant along with EMI. So there's the difference in that there. EMI's cost, of course, is going up to, roughly $20,000. We've got maintenance, equipment, sludge removal, 20,000, sewer utilities at 70,000. Chemicals have gone from 75, almost $88,000 since last year. And the capital outlays is where it's showing there at 275. All that being, that is a balanced budget for the general fund, and that shows a $445,000 net income for the water and sewer fund. And again, I cut down the transfer $200,000. It's something that we should hopefully be able to do more, but I can't, like I said, can't do it all at one time.
We gotta start somewhere.
So with that, that is the budget that I'm proposing with where we are. Now it's up to y'all. Ask questions, tell me what to cut. Tell me if you want to change the military. I'll have to lower that number to show you that, but roughly it'll change from 65 initially down to $17,000 over last year's.
And we do have more meetings upcoming on this. We'll start discussing this more, but do y'all have immediate thoughts right now? Start looking at this, or want to dive in?
It's a lot to digest.
Let me give y'all, turn the page, and let me just show you some of the items from the fire department.
Triple cut?
Yeah, this is just an initial. That's just one page back from the last. Here's was the proposed salaries. Ranges from captains, lieutenants, to part-time, to a full-time chief and a full-time assistant chief, which I don't have a full-time assistant chief in here. You can see his small equipment at 48,000. There's the training that we had in there. Here's these capital items. On the left side is the debt amount. On the right side is the debt service for the 1 year. So you can see what's in there. You know, he did talk about the mini pumper when we were at the retreat last March. Telephone and communications, dues and fees, computer and software, annual certifications, retirement, repairs and maintenance general there. So that's where he cut it from the 2.1 coming on back down to roughly $1.1 million. So.
So Mark, is this still the dream budget?
It's a bare bones budget.
It's a bare bones.
The biggest thing you got in there is a tax increase of the 1 full mil from the 6.16. Because again, if you cut that to the 6.16, it's gonna give you a $61,000 increase. So it would go from $345 to roughly $400,000 would be your total, as opposed to the full village is at $471. And if you want to cut it all the way back to the full cut of 5.49, you would go from $345 plus $17,000. And that's why I gave y'all all three of those. That's why you can look at that number to know how I changed that in the top line of the general fund. It's at 471.
I think last year we talked about some of our wants and needs and wish list items we put together. And a lot of those items were eat up with some of the DOT costs.
And just inflation, guys.
Yeah.
Inflation. And if these guys go on strike tonight at these docks at midnight, 34 docks like Savannah, from Maine all the way around to Texas, the whole eastern seaboard is shut off. So the COVID, they were at least working some, but they're not gonna be unloading anything. I can only imagine what that will do. And that happens at midnight one way or the other.
Get your toilet paper.
So you'll have a little bit more time to go through this. I challenge each of you to
Y'all call
dig into
me,
this.
tell me, come see me, we can do it one-on-one, whatever y'all wanna do. Or if you just wanna tell it out to all of council. I just need to hear the direction y'all want me to take this budget that belongs to the mayor and council.
Does anybody have anything you'd like to talk about right now? Okay. All right, thanks for your work on this, Mark.
And Adams, and Burton's CPA firm.
Seeing what some of the other cities generate in taxes, it's amazing what we provide to.
Again, our job is to provide 75% of the water in this county as an excellent product, a safe product. And when they turn that faucet on in their house, they don't think about where that water's coming from. So they know they're paying for it, and that's what we're obligated to do. I talked to some folks today on fixed incomes and different things of that sort about the increase. And I understand it. But when I go through, one lady even told me her son runs a water and sewer plant in Metro Atlanta. He needed to come tell us and show us how to do this. You know, and I encouraged for her to take my cell phone number and have her son call me. You know, let me give you the facts. Just like he probably has somebody calling him under that same scenario in that city. Because it's not easy. We didn't just make these decisions willy-nilly, going well. But again, I look at my own household budget expenses. You look at your own. Do you go to Kroger and yell at them about their food prices? Or you just pay and go home? Some of this is totally, when Brian could run a mile of water lines a couple of years ago for $40,000 and now it's $150,000, what's the difference? How did that pipe, how did that go up $105,000? I don't know, but it did.
What's the story on Garrison Well?
Garrison Well exceeded our expectations. Garrison Well pumped up to 1.4 million a day. And then the next part is how long it takes it to recover when we were done. The recovery factor of how far that water table fell and how quickly it responded was well within their projection. So it ran 4 million gallons in 72 hours straight. So it exceeds our expectations.
Right.
Now we have to have some discussions among ourselves and see if we want to do something with Baldwin. Do we want to do something ourselves? But you're also taking the exposure of you're putting a water plant over a well that could run dry. May not. Our number says it's not. And again, a 1 million water plant could cost us $8-9 million. And when we go over again the financials, when I show you what we're paying a month now we're going to cut out at least 1 million gallons from Alderman because we just do our 1,150,000. If we do our own plant, well, our cost now is this much, and then we can cut back from Tacoma. So that's how you can offset servicing your debt on that for a 30-year amortization. And those are numbers we got to start talking as soon as we get through this budget. Because that is debt, that is a GFA loan, and it is long-term. And it could take us 2 years. Once they start engineering it, building it, land has been identified. And so this is the lifeblood of the city of Demorest and for Habersham County when we produce this much of the future.
You're talking about 2 years to build a plant, get it up and running?
Pretty close, give or take. Again, it would depend on supply chains too.
Right.
But I do think that's something that we need to start hammering out.
Give me this budget to finish what y'all wanna do. And we're done at the end of the month, and I can give Megan and Rhonda the millage rate to go into effect for the taxes. We can do that. This is consuming right here.
Very good. Let's move.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I missed, and I apologize for walking in a few minutes late. What's the proposed water rate increase for Baldwin?
Water, the city of Baldwin went up on our water in their contract with us. It says that they have the ability to go up by the CPI index. They can increase that every year based on the CPI index, based on our contract with them. And
So
they're,
2016, 2017, the year,
It was renegotiated probably 2 years ago for like a 10-year term.
well, that's unfortunate because we included language in 2016 that prevented the renegotiation, locked in the price at that point in time in perpetuity.
there was a problem with that. Y'all remember how that was? Y'all remember that problem?
There was something that caused it right before I got here.
Is it not our capacity?
It was maybe about
Maybe
capacity.
it was involved.
I think that they were gonna start limiting our capacity. There was something about capacity that created the problem.
And we got a tax, and we got a price increase from Tacoma too.
So that would be, that would, that has to be that other ones. And I'm sure that Thomas and Joey have had that conversation, they have that problem.
Yeah.
It's definitely negotiated.
But there was a reason that I just can't tell you sitting right here.
But I'll look back and let you know on that. It was a problem. Elman, ARPA, sorry.
I think we got,
Next one, yes, sir. Now we're good. No, I'll extend what it is.
Yeah.
Give me that.
That goes along.
Yeah.
all right, what we have is the extension of the land use moratorium. And that is here. The discussion is tonight, we're gonna have another public hearing for public comment on our land use ordinances that we've been working on since April of 2023. And we're going to present those again to let y'all have comment. And because the moratorium ends the last week or so of the month of October, we have to extend it because we're gonna hold our first voting meeting in November on the land use. And so that's why we have to extend it one more month. Because if we didn't extend it, somebody could come in here with today's land use, the way it sits, and file an application. So we have to have these coincide. Nobody can file an application for anything new until the moratorium has been canceled. Not like they can come in a month before and be ready to go when it ends.
You don't have to vote on it before they build it, is that correct?
I asked your question again, so I'm clear with what you're saying.
Before they can build anything, they got to come before y'all have to vote on it.
If there is a change in the zoning or the special use.
So, what I'm getting at is over here on, Phosphorus and, Long Street.
Right.
And them is not their house.
They can't come see me until, if it expires on November 15th.
What I'm asking, can that high density be changed to,
Let me, if I may,
okay, go ahead.
let's get to in the city council meeting when we open up that public hearing.
All right,
I can give you an example,
okay,
okay?
sounds good.
All right. Because that's just not something we discussed in the work session. Okay, thank you, Frank.
That's fine, no problem.
So this is the same one. It goes back and mentions the April 23 and each one that we've been doing for 6 months. On page 2, April 4th, April 9th, 2024. Thomas is on my cell phone due to another case. Thomas, what is the current extension, what is the current expiration date in the month of October?
I think it's October 30th.
Okay. So what date are we asking council to extend this far till November 30th?
15th.
The 5th, okay, where it is, it's down to
15th,
15th.
it was right after I think the meeting's on the 12th. I think we gave
Yes.
ourselves a couple days after that.
Okay, I see that now. So that's what they're asking, that's what y'all are being asked of. And the meeting in the month of November will be the second Tuesday, because the first Tuesday is November 5th, and that's election, and they'll be using these facilities. So November 12th.
What is November 12th again?
That's the second Tuesday of the month. So we'll be here, that's gonna be our monthly meeting, yes ma'am, it'll be at 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Do what?
So through November 15th.
Yes, through November 15th.
Tax due date.
Thomas, this extension language is the same as the language we extended on the last one?
Yeah, I just took the previous one and changed the dates, added a little bit of language to accommodate the fact that we're doing it again.
Okay. And this pretty much gives us time to get through the process to adopt anything that we're going to adopt.
One thing I will have at that November meeting, our sign that's been colored there, in the next 2 weeks, I will be taking that picture, have it finalized like we have in City Hall, for that to be approved, so be it, on November the 12th. But what you'll see in there, like some of the high intensity areas, could be a business 1 or a business 2. So there'll be 2 different colors. And in residential, where we have that in that pink color, it could be an R1, R2, R3, and they'll all be in different colors that we'll have to do some pretty artwork over the next 2 weeks. So there's a lot of work to go into that map, because that map that we're using right now was done in 2013 and amended in 2018. And then this would start, obviously, November of 2024 and be good for 8 to 10 years, subject to.
All right. Any question on this extension? Okay. All right. Finally, Don.
Thank you, we got you here.
All right.
We're still in a hold mode right now, but this is an amount that I have made some reductions and additions to. We knew about the SCADA for the 149,000. We knew about the water model of 73, the Toccoa connection. GFA grant contribution is for the lead and copper money to use for the radar and additional backhoe and trade hours in. The part that's additional there is the 17 fire hydrants. A fire hydrant, folks, costs $5,400. And I need about 50, and that's $375,000. So I can only buy 17 for $92,000. Every time somebody gets in a wreck and runs one over and we don't know about it, the city has to pay to replace it. Or somebody destroys one, or they hit it with the bush hog, we don't know about it. So that's the additional. So the water and sewer department would get round number of $393,000 if we do it this way. Fire department asked for $67,000. I got turnout gear, fire hoses, uniform, and storage containers for 48. We can't vote on this yet because we have not voted to cancel the sewer board project. I am still in some discussions with that contractor. And Thomas, I don't know how, I thought our potential litigation, we could have discussed this in executive session, but Thomas says we can't go into executive session and discuss this. So Thomas, is there something you want to say?
Yeah, I spoke to an attorney that I often consult with who specializes in construction law. And you all may be aware the contractor has asked us to pay for half the machine that they purchased to perform the contract. I've given Mark some questions to ask the contractor, and the responses are basically that they bought it, that they don't intend to sell it or return it, and they've already bid at least one other job on the basis that they had this piece of equipment. So I think it's something that we need to negotiate. They haven't threatened litigation. Mark asked them a very good question that they have not answered yet, which suggests that they may know that their position is not as strong as they think. So Mark and I are gonna have some additional conversations with them, and we may need to have a special call meeting sometime before the next, or we may need to add to the agenda of one of the budget meetings an issue on with regard to this contract.
Very good. Any other questions?
So right now, SCADA's just for discussion off this list, and if there's additions or subtractions, we've got the $441,071 I've got to identify with approval from y'all by December 30th, 2024.
December 30th.
December 30th.
Perfect.
All right.
Preferably before then.
Yeah.
Yes. I got it turned in on the 30th.
Yeah, or
Is there
something.
anything else y'all would like to talk about?
You guys, let me ask y'all, how's the table set up?
It's nice, I like it.
Also gets everybody to see out.
Yeah, it gets a
And
little
nobody
over.
staring at the back of my head.
More room with that, a little more professional with this than moving that table there, so, for $1,900, I think it gives us a whole new impression. These tables will fold down, and our firemen and policemen will roll these out. These 8 chairs will make up the front row. They'll just roll those right over there as we move to up top.
And Mark, I appreciate you donating that money out of your salary. That was very nice.
It was. I feel good. The former mayor, who helped me out.
It is appreciated from your citizens to be able to feel more, and see faces and hear better. And thank you for the handouts, Mr. Mayor, and for the staff for doing that as well. That's also appreciated. Thank you.
All right, y'all want to take 5 minutes and then we'll reconvene.
Oh, okay.
You mix a difference.
So are you going to talk about?
If we, if I can.
Sure.
Yeah.
So when we do, we will do, let's. Oh,
And I'm pretty sure we're related
In what way?
through the Whites and, Banks County at the farm with Whites. Are you keeping those?
I'm not aware of.
You're, oh, really? You're not? Would you mind being? Huh?
You still doing the Lions Club?
No, I'm with Relay for Life now.
so when we,
But I'll claim them if you tell me they're good.
You're good.
Okay.
after we do the, approval of the agenda and vote on that, then that's when public comments.
Okay.
And so you just come up and introduce yourself,
Ah.
talk about relay and, the date.
Well, yeah, that would be nice. I'll take that. No.
Don't you still have ties with the school system?
Were you around Max Michaels at Piedmont College?
Now, my last name is Russell.
I know, I noticed that once I got up here, that may be a big difference.
Yep.
That's a name I've never heard.
Right.
But wonder why though.
I can't answer that. I'm
You
not a
know-
big historian.
People in the day,
Thank you.
But thank you, ma'am.
but you're welcome. Yeah, I'm not front row no more. It's on it. And they just go and sign it there, and that way they're ready to go. I can come talk with you and you can go online, I think I have some papers where it talks about getting schools and all that. It's just. And they've had a hard time getting there. And we're in a lot of that right now. That's why this is a lot. I'm trying to question. It's so much.
Someone that is on the board, we still get to use our cards.
Yes, I know that was.
Make sure you talk to those people.
Have
you ever called?
That's gonna be tomorrow, we'll push you in. And so I will shoot you. Whatever, and I'll try. And you know, if they want to come out.
Yep, that's so, Chris Hall.
I see why they hired him. It makes sense. It's like they get rid of one that made it into the media, and they get one that they don't know about. It's still gonna do the same thing. Sure will. Tracy Mann's doing the coordination of Relay for Life.
Yes, I knew I recognized her. We talked last year.
Prayer and then the pledge. Y'all pray with me. Lord, thank you for allowing us to gather here this evening. We ask that you watch over us. We ask that you watch over our city. We ask that you watch over our residents. And all of our decisions we make tonight, we ask that those decisions glorify your name. In Jesus' name I pray. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First is approval of the agenda. Y'all have anything you'd like to add, subtract, take away? Looking down number 9, can we go ahead and table that until next month? Number 10.
Tabling or? So we're gonna leave it on the agenda and
I guess we're gonna need to strike it from the agenda.
so strike,
Yeah, strike that.
strike number 9 and
Strike number 10. Number 11.
You want to say
You already gave your report, didn't you? During the work session?
Anything else y'all want to add? Yeah, entertain a motion to accept and modify.
Make a motion.
Thank you, sir. Second? Second. All those in favor? Very good. So, there's two parts to our agenda. First is appearance and public comment. This is not pertaining to the public hearing that comes next, discussion of land use. So, if there's anything that's not pertaining to land use, please send it back to the planning.
Not good public speaking.
No, trust me, my voice is loud enough. I use lands. I am not for Fairchild County. I am going to move my relay. I need assistance with that. I would love to have Demorest partner with me so that I can move into like the Demorest Park and areas like that. So, no, it's going to be that was not a name fence plan. It's just me and my weed, because I have games, we have food trucks, we have crazy vendors. It's actually really driven. This final year we have a beauty pageant. So it's something that I need that I don't pay money, because right now, at 5 months, I pay $600 and I don't pay 5 days. So I don't take cash for raising for it. I have to come over to 5 days to have an event. We didn't have an event for 4 years. I'm a race cancer survivor. I was diagnosed in 2018, and that's when I started my team in Joy River. Since we had been 4 years, I've experienced.
I did it last year in 5 months, and I raised $11,000 in 5 months. So it's just something I want you to think about. I could do more talking, if I need to do one-on-one, more explaining.
What kind of help would you need from the city?
I just need permission to be able to have it at the park.
Okay. So I think we probably just give that with a head nod and city manager nod.
Contact, let's get together.
Get together. All right, that sounds good to me.
So what you do is give me a proposal in an email that's gonna lay everything out.
I can do that.
You need police and fire manpower, you need trash cans, what is it you need?
Okay.
From A to Z, so I can tell mayor and council, this is what you're requesting.
All right.
This is the net effect. Because remember, what we don't do is reserve the pavilion or the park. But we keep a note if somebody calls and says, hey, I got little Johnny's birthday at the pavilion on Tuesday. And if anybody else calls, we would tell them that. So just have to think through how we could do that.
And mine's gonna be in November. It will be the second weekend in November of next year.
Oh, we're talking about 26.
Yes, we're talking about 26, we're not talking about this year. 25, sorry, yeah, year 25. I've already paid for the fairgrounds for this year. My event's going on November 2nd of
Just
this
send me
year.
a detailed scope
Okay.
Everything that you need and that you do at the fairgrounds.
There you go.
And this may be, I've spoken with Teresa about this, and this may be also something where we can have other local partners of companies or schools that.
Yes, most definitely.
Might be willing also to assist with their facilities.
Now, I wanted to come before y'all to get an idea if it would be okay, then I want to go speak with the Piedmont and get to working with them, in case weather-wise, would they be willing to allow me to use the gym? I was thinking that here with y'all, if, I don't know what the gym looks like here anymore. You know, if it would be something that I could use for weather-wise.
It's open just in case you want to ride by, from 9 to 9, 7 days a week. Our
Okay.
police officers open and close.
All right, I just don't jump in and try to be nosy and do things, I just.
It's open to the public. It's open.
Then it's just something, I will get that proposal up for you, and I appreciate this.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Teresa,
Mark,
would you like to
do you have a
promote
business
the
card?
relay
No.
for next month to everybody, date and time?
November 2nd, 10 to 4, Hefferson County Fairgrounds. We have food trucks, craft vendors, games.
I'll second.
Thank y'all very much.
Is anyone else here to speak during public comment? Yes, ma'am. If it doesn't involve land use. Okay.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
I did have one question. Are y'all gonna revise that map?
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. So, yes, ma'am. We'll touch on that. All right. Sir.
This Saturday, community yard sale at the gym, Teresa, you want to see it? We have a community yard sale Saturday.
I won't go with my consent.
Okay.
But I am gonna come by tomorrow and drive by and see. But I'll do my proposal. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next is our public hearing. We're going to open this public hearing up for conversations and discussions of anyone that would like to be heard on land use involving our current advertised land use that's out being revised and our zoning map. So if you would like to, please step forward to the podium, state your name, address, and what you're here to discuss. Very good. Thank you for speaking on that. I would,
You know, I can echo agree that it has had a history of rental at that property. I don't know why the last land use map didn't have that. Dr. Allison, you have any insight on why it wasn't coded?
Well, I'm confused. Are y'all talking about limitation of renting property? Or are you talking about what?
This is multifamily pass for renting.
But we have. Limiting any type of rental property?
I don't believe so. Let me take a look. I can do a
that we don't have any restrictions on short-term rentals or renting out your personal residential to be rented.
It looks like all the references to rental have to do with self-storage and autos.
But as far as like multi-family jurisdiction, let's say you wanted to tear that down and build townhomes there, that color code on there would give you the to tear it down and build townhomes there based on that blue color that you're referencing.
But I think what his point is, his property is units. So it's units together like that. It's not renting. It's not a single family home. Yes, it's not a single family home is what his point is.
And I think that's fair. I think that's fair enough. Right now, this is a work in progress board, and we can change that and throughout our next meetings.
Okay, and just for the reference, for the record, my property is labeled R3 through the county. So if we could do something to kind of coincide with that, in case one day I did decide to build a couple of townhomes over on the side of the study.
Yes, yes, so what is yours, are you high low or medium intensity, so, because y'all back up to each other?
I'm
Alright, and Thomas, other if you're gonna build townhomes on this property in the future, what would be his zoning classification coming from low intensity to the new zoning that we're looking at now? Is that a fair question?
If he's gonna wanna do townhomes, I think it's gonna be a special use permit irrespective of zoning classification. I think that's the way this one is drafted. Let me take a look at the use charts.
If that is correct, what he's going to confirm, which means you would have to bring your project before council to ask for a special use to do that.
currently is the over there.
No, I'm not.
Does that
Yes, sir.
also create a problem in case you wanted to tear it down and build townhomes there as well?
Unless I had enough for a drain field, correct?
That would be something that's going to be mentioned in the land use that, as far as density. So it would be the density question.
Does that make sense to you? You understand?
Right, and so now with that, if we do change it, if it does get changed to the town zone, then would I just have to go to sewer?
You just have to run it. You would be a developer at that point, right? Your cost to wherever it is to get it to your property. So you don't do that. Like you would become a developer. And a developer comes to the city and says, here's what I want to do. How do I get sewer here? And you've got an engineer that's designed it, all at your cost. And we did agree with those plans. And we said that you have to build it 100% of cost.
So I have to do the same thing for you.
And if there needed to be a pump station, whatever it could take to get sewer. And that's the tough part, unless you can really get some density. And with just getting 2 or 3, your numbers may not work subject to that. Okay? Total loss. That's gonna come up to what kind of land you have in there. You deal with the health department and your engineers to see what kind of footage of the lot you have, for the drain fields, for the number of bedrooms in you. So there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts that I can't tell you today. Anything is possible. Please take that away. Anything's possible that Thomas can get one. I didn't ask you a question of favor. Tell your phone number so I can catch you. Just let them know, this is the lanes, address the button, and then give you the right to keep it there, okay? Let's consider it. I have annual average, does it have a time, does it run, does it move? Right, you got the highway. There's no policy, code enforcement, officer's phone number, okay, y'all go work this out. Thank you. I'm gonna have you in front. Thank you. Yes, sir. Who else is here to speak on land use? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're thinking about building some townhouses, at the end of, Long Street and Demorest Highway. I really oppose that. One of the reasons I oppose that is that, it's gonna throw a lot of traffic on Long Street. It's gonna throw a lot of traffic on, Demorest Highway. We've already got a lot of traffic as it is. We don't need any more. And, all residential know of it except that one acre, that one little acre there. And I was wondering if somehow or the other on this, if y'all could change that to residential instead of density. It needs to be changed. I think it needs to be changed. As far as I know, that's the only one on that area that has density. Everything else is residential. And I just think it needs to be changed back to residential. And I don't think we need townhouses in front of all the traffic coming in. I appreciate everything that you do for us, but our neighbors feel the same way. Someone's gonna state, I honestly feel like that's gonna put a burden on taxpayers.
Thank you, sir. Frankie, let me talk to you for a second. This is what I know. So that high intensity of yours, this piece of property, because it fronts onto Demorest Mountain area. I go up the street to Joe Slepey's. Up the street to where Joe Slepey wanted to do those. Yes. He's high intensity there too, because he's fronting there on. But then Joe's got another piece that's on the backside that's, I think, medium. It's blue. And,
Is that the part that was not there?
yes, this front piece does. And so with that, there is a special use under today's. That is a special use for them to apply. But just to be clear, the site plan they gave me is not a townhome. It's a duplex, just to be clear with the detail of that. And there's not real clarity to what the density could be as it is today. I've discussed this very two properties today with our city attorney. And he's indicated that these properties could be what's called a B1 or a B2, that's business 1 or business 2. And I look at the chart that is in all that application there, and I go down to, it gives me maximum height, number of stories, and maximum density per acre. Under a B1 or a B2, the maximum density is 3.9 units. So if I wanted to do a retail center, I got 2.9 units. And Thomas, please add about any duplexes or townhomes under the B1, B2, please, sir.
While I'm finding that in the use chart, this ordinance draws the traditional distinction between multifamily and townhomes, where townhomes are under fee simple ownership and multifamily are rentals. And they are both defined in this ordinance as attached residential 3 units or more. The only distinction is, appears to be in the definitions is one is fee simple ownership and the other is rental. That is, as some of you in the room may know, especially those in real estate, build to rent has become a big deal, and some jurisdictions are regulating that. If that is a concern in Demorest, we'll need to adjust at least the definitions, or perhaps add some provisions that will regulate that. If that is something that the city feels like needs to be addressed. That is a traditional distinction that was drawn, but anymore, with groups like Stanley Martin Homes, for one that I'm immediately familiar with, oftentimes they come in and even single family detached, they build entire neighborhoods that are intended to be for groceries. In the commercial arena, single family detached or supplemental or special uses, multifamily, residential or special uses, dwellings located within a building containing a non-residential principal use. That would be, if you've got residential over retail, like in some of the downtown areas, that's a permitted use, and that appears to be in the commercial area, everything that is residential. So, commercial areas, you can do single family detached. For the special use, in other words, you'd have to come to council and get permission to build a house in an area that's zoned for commercial or office use, and the same with multifamily. It doesn't seem to address duplexes, townhomes, things like that.
So what you're saying is that if that property owner, after the moratorium, wanted to come in here, he would have to come in with a special use, to do this because he's a B1 or a B2.
It appears to be that if you're gonna do any kind of, it's gonna have to be the way this particular use chart reads, you can do single family detached or you can do multifamily. The multifamily being, as this ordinance defines it, is gonna be for rental. So if you wanted to do a property that was 3 units or more, they're going to be rental properties. You could do that in a B1 or B2, but you would have to come get a special use permit.
So he would have to come before.
Thomas, what did you say about more than two, or 2 doors defined, or is it 3 doors defined as that multifamily?
This ordinance has a definition for duplex. Duplexes don't appear to be allowed, at least in the use chart as drafted, are not allowed in commercial areas and the business areas, B1, B1, B2. Duplexes are allowed, are permitted use in R2. They are not permitted in either R1 or ag.
So duplexes are not allowed in the B1, B2, again, just to be clear.
And the use chart is currently before council. They are not permitted in the B1, B2. They would have to be a multifamily, which would be for rental. That would have to be 3 units or more.
So the change is, Frankie, is they would have to abandon their duplex and go to 3 units or more like that. But the density is still 2.9 per acre, Thomas?
Yeah, that's the way the dimensional chart is drafted in this ordinance.
So they have 7 buildings as duplexes, which equates to 14 units. Under that scenario, they can't do that. Not for the duplex.
How many houses?
Three units of a townhome under this use. The density is 2.9.
One building.
Mark
Yeah.
has 2.9 structures, units per. That is one thing that probably needs to be addressed, because the way that dimensional chart, I believe, was intended is that when they, in the commercial arena, in the commercial areas, when they say 2.9 units, I think they're talking about rounded up to 3 for this purposes of this explanation. I think that as the use chart is currently drafted and as the divisional chart is currently drafted, if you wanted to do multifamily in a B1 or B2 arena, you could do 3 units. Now, I think that would mean 3 structures, and so you would be you would need to. The city probably needs to address how many residential units you could have on per acre in those areas,
Comment?
in the commercial areas, and that does not seem to be addressed in the residential chart as of now.
On that 7.2 chart that you and I discussed earlier today, it says under number 4, maximum density, in parentheses, units per acre is 2.9. The only way that I could understand from my experience is that would mean for every 1 acre, you should have 2.9 units. I don't read that as 2.9 units in a building, because then how many buildings can I have?
And I think you and I are saying the same thing. I think when you're talking about the non-residential zoning district divisional requirements, when it's talking about units, it's talking about structure. It is not talking about dwelling units.
So, great conversation. Scott, would you look into a way to add something to?
When you say loophole, you mean that you want to address, that you want to specify in the non-residential zoning district how many, if people were to do multifamily in B1, B2, you want some limitation in the chart as to how many dwelling units they can put in a per acre.
Dwelling versus buildings versus doors underneath one story.
Because I don't think you could have 3 units. You got to have 3 units
With
I mean, I think that in the B1, in the non-residential areas, I think you could. But I think that if you all want, if we want to address, if we want to put some sort of restriction on how many dwelling units you can put in the B1, B2 areas, that needs to be, they need to be specified. So it is, you see that they do address in the non-residential zoning districts, they do address some residential components. For instance, if they say, says minimum lot size for single family dwelling, for that, for permitted use in B1, B2, you've got to have 10,000, at least 10,000 square feet with single family residential. That seems to, other than the buffer requirement and things like that, that seems to be the only specific reference to residential uses in the non-residential zoning district divisional chart. So again, I understand what I hear you say is that it's a loophole, but it says units per acre.
yeah, but
Units per acre. I don't think that's what the divisional chart means, so we need to address that.
units per acre on with that 10,000 square foot definition would be.
You could put, with a lot size of 10,000, you could get, the 2.9 fractions are obviously going to create a lot of setbacks, but yeah, you could effectively put, you would be limited as this reads, even though this is a 10,000 square foot lot minimum, for single family detached dwellings in the B1 and B2 area, you would be limited to effectively 3 units per acre in the B1, B2 area.
Okay. Okay. I think that we do need to look into that a little bit more, modify this, we move forward. Today.
have more info.
All right, thank you.
When I get that, I will share that.
All right, thanks.
I would be short. Hopefully, stop that. Yes. I'm gonna be able to know.
Maybe just use your microphone, please.
Thank you, ma'am.
What was her name? Jen. What was her name?
Drawing on the map, I want to show y'all something.
The property we're looking at is right over here. I live here. Charlotte Gladden lives right behind me. Pat lives on the other side. This building right here that they're talking about wanting to build on, if you keep on going down this road, all it is residential. So you're gonna drop in a duplex or apartments in that particular area. You're only talking about the 1 acre lot. You picked a 1 acre lot, put 3 or 4 duplexes on it.
Meetings ago, I wound up complaining because I live directly on the corner there.
They got Village Landing, they got Long Street, where this property is sitting here. Then you have Main Street that goes straight toward the college. My husband and I live on that corner lot.
There was so much problems I had. I was one of the ones that requested for Long Street, that corner where it's named Main Street, because people coming from Demorest would
Listening to Long Street,
Long Street, I'm not now. Or the ones on Main Street come flying out, not speeding, and then they have a problem. That's the one reason I applied for speeding. But the problem now is now you're going to put duplexes on that corner. When you start looking at where a residential is, you put more people on it, you're going to put more burden on the city because of the traffic that is going there. I don't want anything like that in that residential area.
because it's a great where a family that
I appreciate you speaking. None of these are in front of us for zoning tonight, but it's a great time for us to have those conversations because that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the zoning maps. So I appreciate you coming.
But when you start looking at the zoning map, because I was looking, and I know y'all got some revisions in regard to it, there's residential people all the way up and down through there. There is not duplexes or apartments. It's families that are living there, and you're gonna drop something in the middle of the residential, the families. It's not a good idea.
Amen, just for a point of note, if the moratorium is dropped from the 15th, their first possible meeting would be the first Tuesday of December. And it also would depend on if they file the applications. We have to advertise so many days before.
Right.
So the meeting could be, the fastest would be December if they make the application, or most likely the first meeting in January. Just a point of reference.
I'll be here.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
I'll make it quick. I promise. But my husband would probably tell you that he'll probably didn't do anything.
I didn't say he.
I know he didn't. He's on.
To be clear again with detail, we're not here to rezone on that map. It would be coloring it per the land use map. So we're not rezoning anybody's property. That's the key to that map, because it gets confused. So what you're asking us to do is to change the color
on that map.
You could do that for us.
Details.
One to four family, residential, whatever.
Thank you. Anyone else here to speak?
This is the first. I know. I know.
It's my wife. As far as the traffic, we already have enough traffic. This Mount Airy is the main drag from town to 341 for all the ambulances, school buses, everything else. 3:30 in the morning, I'm setting my watch for Bill Chicken Country. We don't need any more traffic on that, and if y'all build all this stuff and let it be built, all it does is add more people, more traffic, more congestion. I don't want it. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else here to speak?
I'm totally against it. It will put a much higher impact on services for the county. It will be too much of a load.
Yes, sir.
It would be a beautiful place. Or a single family home, that would be good. But no, I don't want the, I'll just be honest, I don't want some of the kind of people that be moving into those places. So, if you think I'm prejudiced for saying that, I'm sorry. But there's a lot of things that have happened and come into this county, and it's already showing. So, let's keep it nice and clean and a beautiful place to be. Those are all old homes all over that area.
Can you tell me your name and your address for the minutes?
I'm sorry?
Your name and address. Dallas.
500 Wall Street.
500 Wall, okay. Sorry, just for the minutes.
May I add a PS?
Ma'am?
May I add a PS?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, street. That area has, in the last year of 2024, it is unreal, the traffic on the Barstow, down there in Highway. Sometimes I go out there on the front porch and drink my coffee once the school buses go by. Just in that 8-month period, it is unreal. And then your traffic coming in to this, the ones that come down Main Street, they think it's an alley for race cars. I mean, and you can ask the law enforcement people, not just the 128, but the Mount Highway, with the noise, it's a racetrack. It takes me back a long, long way when I remember when it was a racetrack. But Andrew and all y'all that live close, you know the amount of traffic is unreal. And it would be another burden for our law enforcement. It really would, because it's already having some changes. But thank you for listening.
Thank you, ma'am. Is anyone else to speak?
Yeah, another thing is you got two schools, 200 yards down the road. You bring in these multi-family, whatever, look at the rest of the country. What's going on with that? We don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's coming too soon already. And it's gonna get worse real soon.
Does anyone else like to add anything on our, here we are, modifying this, please, sir.
open outbuilding, but he basically asked me
Consider being
talk to him enough
the same.
about and I don't anticipate doing it. I don't want to have to come back to the city after y'all decided to rezone and so I would ask politely before he would actually protect the livestock.
Thomas, were you able to hear what Rick was saying, please? I did, and
Honestly, if y'all and Thomas, if y'all wanted to figure out what kind of language would be broad but would be exclusive of large commercial operations, I think everybody in Demorest would like that. I mean, I don't think anybody would balk at that. I mean, nobody's asking to build multi-row chicken houses inside the city limits, and so we're there for protection. We need for that. But at the same time, if somebody wants to have 100 units and say they got a slice of the pie, that's a different ball game altogether.
So we need a definition on production, Thomas, if you wouldn't mind.
I will.
What else do you got for us?
Go Sam, is it?
And just you'd have to, Thomas, you'd have to define industrialized in that in that definition section. Thank you. Look at table 6.1, which is, I don't have page numbers, but uses 728 minus 230, 830 or 31, under permitted uses and special uses and prohibited uses. For number one, under ag, accessory apartment attached, that's prohibited, but under number two, accessory apartment detached, that's special use. Seems a bit arbitrary to me. Let's say I wanted a mother-in-law suite in a apartment for an elderly aging parent or something along those lines. Might be something that not only myself or someone else might want to be able to do.
What other 6-1 are you under, Rick, so I can follow?
I'm on number 2.
Oh, accessory apartment, the accessory apartment is taxed.
So all I'm saying is it appears to be a little bit incongruent. If you can have a detached single-family apartment building, you ought to be able to rent one out of your garage if you have a mother-in-law or a child that couldn't live on their own or whatever. I just see that there's a special use for one and not a permissive at all on the other, and so I would like.
Well, yeah, I see what you're saying.
And then Thomas and Mayor and Council, number 6, agriculture, raising of poultry or livestock. I'm assuming that S is scratched through and that's a P, Mayor. It's blank to me.
Are you about the R1?
Number 6. Number 6.
It's permitted in A1, it's supplemental in R2, and it's R1, and it's prohibited in R2.
Gotcha.
What is the supplemental in R1? Okay.
So it's gonna come back in front of council.
And there's several that have that already.
Yeah. Keep in mind that in the definition on that for chickens, so it would allow a number of chickens under that R1 and R2. At least have that for conversation topics.
Say that one more time, Jerry, I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Under R1, you have that as, under R1 and R2, I would like to have a discussion as far as poultry. Of having a couple of chickens, I think that's okay in some of those areas. I think some of those areas now have chickens now.
Make that change to the definition, like the address that.
Thank you.
World War II, the federal government was putting out advertising that asked all Americans to have chickens. So they have the eggs and the meat. Now, God forbid we get into that situation again. But that's where our federal government was back in that time of need. And I hope we never get there again. But those were in major magazines and those types of things. I'm going to switch gears just a second and talk about development in general, if you'll allow me, Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
We have all witnessed. So first of all, I want to give thanks to God for sparing us what could have been a tremendous and what we thought was going to be a tremendous tragedy that could have occurred to us. As of Tuesday night, they were thinking that we may get 16 to 19 to 20 inches of rain. And like many residents, I'm sure, including myself, I pray I say, God, please move that storm. Now, that doesn't mean that the people in western North Carolina and Tennessee didn't pray the same prayers. I'm not saying that. But it illustrates the amount of devastation that can occur in the Cleveland Valley. And as we think about development in general, and we've had this conversation before, we know that we're in a bowl. Let's make sure that we have appropriate development implementations, appropriate mitigation plans in place that will prevent as much of that potential destruction in the future. What used to be a rare event on the creek that I live on is not a rare event anymore because of the development of the subdivision directly on that creek. It floods far more regularly now than it ever did. That wasn't any of our decision approving that. It's a consequence of asphalt and rooftops. And so just a simple precaution to think about, particularly in light of the situation that has occurred just north of us and the people that may never get their lives back the way that they knew it before Thursday night and Friday. And the number of losses of life. We're cognizant of those kinds of things, and I know you will be, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. And once again, I challenge everyone to get a copy of this and go through it in detail.
It is on our website under the land use section.
Is the updated one on there?
Megan, can you confirm?
It's not on there.
I'm sorry,
It's not on there, but we can get it on there,
tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
as well as the budget.
And the budget will be up tomorrow also.
When is the last time for comments on this revised
November 12th.
November 12th?
Yes, ma'am. The second Tuesday of November for our regular
And
season.
when is this going to be voted on, January?
No,
November 12th.
Now, he says the last minute comments November 12th, but we'd love to hear your comments a little before that.
Well, that's the reason why I was asking, is because you have to have the comments by November 12th, voting on it.
And please don't feel like that you have to come address the council on those comments, just come bring them to staff.
You can email me.
Yeah, they'll shoot them out.
And I can, anybody that sends me their comments, I email them out to these 5 guys. And I actually, even if you come see me, I want it in your words, not me retyping your words. So I prefer it to be typed, if possible with that. But do understand, we've had multiple meetings, and some meetings there was nobody. In the first meeting, we had maybe 15 people, and we had this in our September 3rd meeting. There was no real comments, and we actually pushed this back from this meeting to vote on this to next month, just to give us another time to see. But do understand, y'all are on a specific target. where we're looking also for people for the whole greater good of that map.
So make sure that you are looking at the entire city as well as when you're going through this, because we need everybody's input.
So thank you for coming and thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Please take the same energy for some of the other locations too.
Well, we were gonna come on September 3rd, and then I got told that it wasn't gonna be discussed. Then we went on vacation out of town before I left. I came to see Megan, and I got a copy of the proposed one the first time, and I was given the Cornelia.
I did that because I picked up the wrong copy.
And then Megan sent me a message saying I could come by and pick it up, so anyway, I appreciate it.
And
So
tomorrow,
make comments on that one that I gave you, bring it to me.
This one?
Yes, just write on it and we can
Because
see
I had
it.
comments on my other one.
Right. Yeah, that's what Miss Smith did. She made comments and we sent it directly to Thomas, so it made it easy.
Okay.
Is anyone else here to speak during our public hearing? Council, you have anything to add?
Does planning still have a role in this?
Thomas.
Thank you, sir.
I said you do it.
It, actually, I mean, if you have me, I'm an idiot, I swear. I just built trucks on the side of the road. I've never done with the truck. No, never, I'm over here. Seriously.
I appreciate you volunteering. All right, any other comments? Council, anything
Between vice presidential.
You were free to escape anytime.
We just don't be.
All right, with no more comments heard, we will close the public hearing and move forward to approval of minutes, September 3rd minutes.
That's on tab 7.
Thank you.
Tab 7.
Thank you. That's it. All right, we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Make the motion.
Thank you. A second. All those in favor?
Sounds gone.
3 votes. Next is consideration of our automatic aid agreement.
Number 2.
We talked about the option of waiting until we see a map or moving forward with this. Council, it is your call. John, we're talking about the automatic aid agreement. and Whether or not we will wait on a map or move forward as written.
Under tab 2.
That's it. We will take action.
And it's for Dave to sign it.
Okay. Motion for Dave to sign off on this project. Next is consideration of extending the land use moratorium. This talks in a couple of days past our next November meeting, November 15th. And this, it's no changes, it's just extending.
Make a motion to extend the moratorium to November the 15th.
You got a second?
Our most important is our water usage. Volume is we use 51 million gallons in the month of August. In Tacoma, we use 7.3 million gallons. And of course, Garrison Road is off. And Miles, we only use 7 million gallons. So we use 65 million gallons in the month of August. Again, which is very hot, very dry. So we're continuing with some never before seen numbers. Hopefully now that we're in the month of October, it will be much cooler. We can see some drops in that. Our water system because the stormwater runoff that was getting into our sewer. And I'm happy to say we're back to it now, as well as our drinking water. Texas 40 calls, 10 domestic, 17 incident reports, 11 accidents, 106 traffic stops, and 36 citations, which is 34% tickets to a warning. They made 5 arrests, 41 as a trailer. 523 calls from August 1st to August 31st. The highest dispatch and canceled in round is 27. EMS calls, excluding vehicle accident, 47. Medical assistance with EMS, 6. Motor vehicle accidents with injury, 7 is our 4 biggest uses there. Total calls is 845. Total calls. He's doing very nice with them.
Could you leave them on the screen for our next meeting?
I would love to be able to do that, she said. I would love a lot more information to be on the screen now to help those in attendance there. They came over a little bit of understand. And, what Hurricane Helene did. But I want to tell you about a very special group outside of what we have here in Demorest, but a very special group that's inside the home show. I am.
Ben Smith and our emergency management team for Habersham County, if y'all haven't ever been to their facility, it is a bunker under the ground. I've never seen such. Because the city and the county held a meeting that everyone in the county or the cities were invited to on Thursday, where we all had a plan of action to see updates from the Greenville, South Carolina side that covers us here in Demorest and Peachtree City. It was very enlightening of what this special teams, whether it was 911, all the different support over there. We met at an amazing place, and Lynn Smith and her team did an amazing job. The dedication and the hours that they spent getting out all this information throughout the state. Just an unbelievable place to see. And with that in there, each of my three departments had a plan put together. Police department, they put in 47 hours of overtime. Casey has almost 14 hours. Casey doesn't get paid as a salary employee. But our other guys had 34 hours for a total of 47 hours between them. They were prepared. How many guys did you have on during the day starting Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
We had 4.
And how many at night? On Brian's guys, they had 51 total hours. And it's amazing how few that really is for those 16 guys. And Brian had 22 of those. Fire department, unreal. They had 148 overtime hours. The fire chief had 10 and a half. He's not getting paid either. The total amount was 256 hours of overtime. Brian had set 4 teams up of 4. Everybody had a chainsaw. They were all going to 4 sections of the county where our water lines are. Everybody was prepared. Police department had a chainsaw. Fire department was prepared. 3 or 4. They picked up 1 or 2 units. I didn't want anybody out there that didn't have tools there to help. We had 6 trees fall, what I've been told and seen pictures of. They fell on 3 cars. Of our 55 full-time and part-time employees, we only had 1 employee that had any damage. Our chief police officer, Noah, help me.
Ivister.
What was his last name?
Ivister.
Sorry. He had his brand new 2024 Tahoe 4Runner 5.5 by tree, had to cut himself out of his driveway to get in on Friday morning. I felt very lucky that we had here. Let's see what has happened to these other areas. And we were extremely lucky. I'm so proud of the fire department, the police department, and the road department. Thursday at lunch, I let all the 4 guys, the street guys had to stay, but all my water guys went home at 12 o'clock. I didn't know when they were going to get another chance to stay. They all started coming in at 1 o'clock Thursday morning. All day, Friday, they were in, and I will tell you, by the end of Friday afternoon, we set our downtown. It was blown, moved, had some debris in other places. Our city was safe. So again,
And all stay.
all stay. Again, 51 hours for my water and sewer, 158 for my fire, and 47 for EMS. These guys didn't think they were going to be coming home anytime soon, but they did. We fed them lunch in the city. Brian's guys, early, it was great. Spent some time there with that. back on Sunday. And that was it. Sunday afternoon. It was pretty amazing experience that we just pretty amazing job. The city was well protected with all kind of plantings. Really
See these guys in here, city boys, serious and real.
I'm gonna just give a brief update here. Y'all got the highlights. Y'all can see that. Let's get into another big thing about our water and sewer guys. Y'all have heard us talk about lead and copper. That is a federal requirement to have finished report on reports of found out in Texas. We had to inspect all 7,200 of our water facilities. We were able to have our engineers physically had to go bid on both sides because we had sent out for a bid. Now, private companies bid to check on every one of these 3,800 meters. The lowest bid was round numbers, $300,000. My second lowest was $1.2 million, and my highest was $2.6 million to do the same job. To check those 3,800 meters, fill out a form, give it to the cities, and then we could send out. With that, the state gave us an $85,000 grant. We didn't have the funds to do this, and if you do the work in-house, you don't get to pay yourself that cost. We had 8 guys, 2 groups of 2, 18 days to do those 3,800 meters. Hand dig both sides, fill out the report, and go on to the next one. They saved the city $289,000. And that was just an amazing job. Again, 300,000, $1.2 million, and 2.6 to do the same job. These 3 bidders. They're bidding every municipality, every county that has water. So it wasn't to do any work, just to dig the hole and check. So that was a huge thing that we did. Y'all seen this past meeting report. Pleased to tell y'all from 2019 to 2023, and down to 3 customers that owed us. One is going to start a payment plan. The other 2, a little more difficult because they're not signing any certified contracts. A total of 1,222 dollars. 19 to 23. We probably started out with 25. The 2 on staff, Sarah and Madeline, closed that down. We finished yesterday our additional LMIG money of $46,518. Dig off Laurel Avenue. You can see Alabama Street complete across this all the way up towards Piedmont. You'll see Fisk Avenue out there at Catfry. They did some patching and redid some sections out there that were lost. Had Johnny Mize around by Piedmont. The drains didn't go all the way to the sidewalk, so we widened that one. And then Florida Street, which is on the other side over towards Central and North Hazel, that was completely milled and we added the speed hump back, the double springs for additional cost, and then we had North Hazel. They were building those houses, some heavy equipment, dump trucks, and just destroyed the street section there. So while they were here, we did an additional project. I'm gonna get that turning right here. You will see these for the first time in 4 years. These are the new Habersham County area maps. I've got some over here, and I've got more in City Hall if y'all would like one. We do have our Demorest section where we did buy an ad, and they've got some of the other folks in Demorest. I'm not a map user anymore. I can't even fold it up, so I'm not going to fold it and show it to you. But all of that was got on my department head, but y'all feel free. If there's no more left, you can just let us know at City Hall. I do want to hit the financials for the month of August. So if y'all will go to the first section there, cash balance. water and sewer was $623 for total monthly expenses of $858,000 for Demorest to operate. So 237 and 622,000 total. We got our 2 months liquidity. The next page, we were talking about if we bring additional debt for our water plant. Our total debt for the city is 9.2 million. 7.5 of that is GFA loans and the bonds from 2016. And on the next column now, the general fund, you have your debt payments for the fire truck and the police cars. That's where you'll see where it's got 2 payments left. About 1.6 million annual payments. We got $1,460,000 on this building. So where would we take more debt? Because again, if you're under the 26 bond, you're paying $37,000 a month for a bond that's 8 years old that probably goes until 2041. And then the other GFA loan payments for $8,200, $2,500, and $14,000. So to get additional debt and then for the general fund, it's very difficult to get cash flow to budget without a set target like $1. Next page, 2 pages over, where it says general fund's budget and actual. We collected in the month of August from general fund $38,000 from $237,000 worth of expenses. I'm not going to get that money. It comes from the water transfer. So that's the biggest part out of that. That's where we have that to go. So that's what I wanted to tell y'all on that. I just can't on that budget discussion just go from $1.6 million down to $800,000 on a city budget out of $1.4 million, which puts me at $200,000 less that amount there. Another page over, income for water and sewer of $699,000, $439 for operating income of $260,000. Those again are August. We're now in the month of October. We still have to see our numbers for September. All this is always a rolling goal. When you go to the budget, on the next page, revenues, we're projected to hit 7.1 million for the annual budget. Right now, we're at 4.7. We got to average $600,000 for the next 4 months to hit that projected amount. Right now, on our expenses, we're at 5.8 projected, and we're at 3.5. We got roughly 2.3 million budgeted still for our expenses there. But again, we cut out $600,000 on capital improvements by amending the 2024 budget last month to cover that. Then the last page here is the SPLOST dollars. I've got $52,000 left in SPLOST 6 for water and sewer. I've got $49,000 left in SPLOST 6 for roads, streets, and bridges. And then in SPLOST 7, I got 286 budgeted, 133 for the police and fire. That goes back to those final payments there. And roads, streets, and bridges, $150,000. The current balance as of September 30th is $359,000 in SPLOST. And every month, we'll be adding roughly $33,000 a month. Also, got some of these large payments coming from contractors and the DOT that have taken a lot of that money. With that, close my report. If y'all have any questions, a lot of information. I know I send y'all a lot of information on a daily basis. If you have questions, comments this evening, who's going to ask questions? Proposed budget online for 2025 that has been voted on with the last October
22nd.
22nd at 6 o'clock will be our meeting back.
And that's on the website, but what you were just saying, the budget's on the website.
Proposed budget will be up tomorrow.
And we have some copies up here.
What are the times?
April 15th is noon. April 5th, April 15th, and April 6th on the 2nd. So it's all Tuesdays.
Session about, correct?
We do for, this issue.
Our personnel.
Personnel.
John, said we can make a comment?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go this one there.
Please.
That, do I need to say the name and all that? Jennifer Austin, 15.
90 Devil Springs Road. I just have a question regarding that culvert there on Double Springs Road. Do you have any plans in the future to revisit looking at kind of a redesign of that so that it does allow more water to flow through?
What you're referring to is Ryan has nightmares and of that section of that creek.
Not the only one.
And I'm getting something. And he and I have discussed it, but we have not allocated anything. Nothing has been studied or anything like that. But Brian has driven down their driveway. His mother's truck around and floating toward the creek before. And that's a lot of water coming.
They're skiing around like that on Double Springs before you go to the.
Okay. So,
Yeah, they got the big one that we had.
It's right in front of where the old pump house is.
Yeah.
so do we we will.
May I request that that be on y'all's minds that you're looking at things, you know, for roads and bridges? Thank you.
And I want to thank Mayor and council and staff for the install of the speed bump on Double Springs. Thank you. That was, it's dangerous on that road without it, particularly in the morning times. So thank you.
Megan, will you take that microphone and tell us about Halloween?
Mark, you have a microphone. Oh.
I can't hear you.
Well, this is Saturday.
Halloween, it'll be Halloween night from 5 to 8. So this year we also are partnering with Piedmont. Typically they do theirs one night and we do ours another night, but they plan to have around 20 trunks. So we're looking for a big turnout this year. There'll be bouncy houses and just the usual things they have.
Thank you. Thank you.
The candy.
To go into executive session. This is over with, shall we? All in favor?
Was that you, Sean, that second?
I got your number. I'll
I don't know the second.
Tired.
Come on, Daddy.